Good morning, guys and girls, and welcome to day 3 of the reading rush. So I am on my way out. I just need to get my stuff together. Honestly, it's been so long since I've been out that I don't even remember what I need to take with me. This is going to be a whole like relearning experience of how to be outside in the world. I'm wearing jeans for the first time in months, and honestly, I'm not used to wearing waistbands anymore. So this is going to be a fun experience. But I just thought that I would check in with you guys before I leave the house to let you know that the book that I'm going to be reading today to start off with is Dreaming Son by Ichigo Takano. This is a manga about a girl who runs away from home. I believe that her mother has died and her father has remarried, and she doesn't like the new dynamic in their house now that they have a new baby, so she leaves home and she meets a man, and the man tells her that he will give her a place to stay providing that she fulfills 3 conditions. And I think the 3 conditions are that she must tell him why she ran away, she must find his missing house key, and she must also have a dream and fall in love. So I picked this one today because it is the shortest of my manga. I think it's about 160 pages, and we're heading into York today, so we have just under an hour drive there and back, so I think that I can read this one in that time. I am probably going to be tucking A Strange Hymn into my bag as well because I read a little bit with breakfast this morning, but I did leave it midway through a chapter, so I'll just pop that one in case I finish Dreaming Son, and then I can at least make it to the end of the chapter in that one. So we have arrived. It's raining, which is typical. Curtis has just paid for parking, and yeah, we're gonna go do some shopping. I'm excited.
Looking from the top of the shelf, and how could I do this to myself? Swept out from under my feet, 'cause it was barely 6 weeks talking to me. Guess you were not the one for me, but how this surely just cannot be. And I know you're thinking of me. If the world was ending, you come over, you come over, you come over, you come over. If the world was ending, you come over. And how I treated you just the way you should, and how I could not believe now that you are the one that I'll miss. And you are the one I'll reminisce. And I'm looking back to when I first met you, and all I'm thinking is you are the one that I'll miss. Nicknames turned to pet names so fast. Guess now all of that's in the past. Seems like you were all I had, when the kisses on your cheek never last. Trying to think positively, I know that's what you would want from me. Watching sunsets from the beach, and thinking how much that.
Hey, so I just got back from my little adventure, and let me tell you, I have not been into a city since, I want to say, February. I think the last time I went into a city was probably the last time I saw the 1975, so we're talking February. That's like 5 months. The amount of people that were out today, and also the amount of people not wearing a mask, was like, wow. Like I know that people out there aren't wearing masks. I live in a small town, so like not wearing a mask, like yes, you 100% should be wearing a mask, but at the same time you're not coming like into extremely close contact with people. But in a city, like I would not dream of going into a city without a mask, and literally I want to say maybe 5% of the people that I saw were wearing a mask. Like I could be stood on the edge of like one of the more open areas in York, so there's like 100, 200 people in front of me, and not see a single mask. Like it was intense. Like it was really like, oh, I was just shocked that so many people just weren't bothering to wear masks at all. Like honestly, wow. But while I was out, I did read the entirety of Dreaming Son by Ichigo Takano. For my Bookopoly Reading Rush TBR, this was for one of the contemporary romance prompts, but this will also tick off a Reading Rush prompt to read a book entirely outside of my house, because I read half of this in the car on the way there and half on the way back. So yay, I actually managed to accomplish that prompt without having to go and sit in the garden garden, which I'm really happy about. So the plot of this that I mentioned earlier, like that is the plot, but the first 2 of those conditions that she has to fulfill is pretty much wrapped up in the first 10 pages, and then the majority of this is about the 3rd condition she has to fill, where she has to have a dream and fall in love. She ends up in this situation. She's living in a house with this guy that she found in the park who ends up being her landlord, and 2 other boys who go to the same school as her, and she just automatically falls in love with one of them. And this is by the same author as the Orange manga, and it does remind me of Orange in a lot of ways. I really like Ichigo Takano's art style, but what I will say is that the main character in this and Naho look pretty much identical, and I can't remember the name of the guy. What's the guy called in Orange who isn't Suwa? The guy who transfers to the class in Orange, like the one that Naho is really into. The guy in this that she ends up falling in love with, it did remind me a lot of that character in Orange as well, just like art style wise. But this was really interesting because I believe it's supposed to be like a romantic comedy manga, or just like a, I don't know, like a contemporary comedy manga, and this was kind of funny. I'm not sure whether it was intentionally funny, but there were just bits that I laugh at, because what I find with manga is that the dialogue a lot of the time is quite blunt, so the way that some things are just said in manga does tend to make me laugh anyway. But I did really enjoy the story. It is super cute. This is the first volume of 10, so I have a long way to go. I only own this one currently, but I will get more as time goes on, because like I said, I really enjoyed it. It's really cute, and it gave me the same feelings as Orange, but without the dark side of Orange. So Orange has quite a sad undercurrent running through it, and this gave me all the cutesy vibes that Orange gave me, but without all of that sadness underlacing it. We do have a little bit of a serious topic in here because, as I said, her mother has died. However, she doesn't talk about that too much. It is the catalyst for the story because of the way that she's feeling after her mother's death, even though it's been quite a few years, I believe, since her mother died. But it is mainly about her ending up in this house with these 3 guys, and how all 3 of them has very different personalities. There's one that's a little bit odd, there's the one that she's in love with, and then the landlord is really kind of straight-faced and sarcastic. It's just the dynamic in that household, while she is also making friends with them and finally feeling like she has a place where she belongs. So once again, as with all but one book that I've read in July, 4 stars to this. Really did enjoy it, and honestly, if I had the 2nd book in the series right now, I would be tempted to continue. So I did buy a few things while I was out today that I want to show you guys. The first place that I went, which is the place that I was really excited to go to, is my local comic book store. I say local, it's in York, so it's like nearly an hour away, but it is my favorite comic book store, or my favorite chain of comic book stores. I think they have 4 or 5 stores in total across the north of the country, but I did pick up one graphic novel today, and I'm so mad at myself because I wanted to pick up Blackbird. It was only when I was in the car on the way back and I sent Jade a picture of what I'd bought that I remembered that Jade read Blackbird, and I really wanted to get it. And I also, oh my god, I found this graphic novel. I will insert a picture of it here. It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I have seen it before, but I've never paid it any attention before until I went into my comic book store. It's called Traveling Man, by the way. I went in and I saw volume 2 and 3, and I pulled it out and I was like, the cover of this is absolutely stunning. So I was looking at it and I saw like Angel and Spike, and I was like, wow, okay. However, they did not have volume 1, and I was really sad about it because I looked into it on the way back and I have indeed seen the first volume around. However, this Buffy series is published by Boom Studios, and the rest of the Buffy comics, like the ones that are canon and take place after the show, are all Dark Horse comics. So I saw it and I didn't think anything of it, and I never really looked at the cover too closely, but if you look at the cover of the graphic novel, Buffy is holding a smartphone, and it is a reimagining of Buffy the Vampire Slayer starting way back at the beginning when they're all in high school. However, it is set in 2019, so Willow is like this hipster indie goth character, Xander's a gamer, Buffy's like more popular obviously, Cordelia is in there, and Spike and Angel honestly look banging. But unfortunately they did not have volume 1 when I was in there, so I couldn't pick it up, but I'm like super interested in that and super excited to read it now. It's kind of like Buffy in the aesthetic style of Riverdale, and I just, yeah, I really enjoyed it. However, the comic that I did actually get is I Soul Volume 2 by Brendan Fletcher and Carl Kerschel. I got the first volume of this a while ago, and the first volume I have is actually a Traveling Man exclusive, which is another reason why I love my comic book store. I wanted to get this for a while. I know the release was slightly delayed, but I also wanted to pick it up from my comic book store in case they had an exclusive cover so that it would match the exclusive cover that I have. No, they didn't have an exclusive cover. This is just the standard one. However, what they did have that I didn't even know until I bought it and she gave it to me at the till, is a art print that is signed by the artist and the writer. So yeah, even though I didn't get my exclusive cover, I did get something else with it. I will show you this. This art is the art that is on the front cover of the second volume. So this series follows a main character who's kind of like a warrior type. I believe that they're in the Royal Guard, if I remember correctly. And they are trying to get the queen to somewhere called Isola so that a curse that has been placed upon the queen can be reversed, because the queen has been transformed into this beautiful glowing tiger, which is on the front cover. I did really like the first volume in this series. The art style is absolutely stunning throughout this. It's definitely one of my favorite things about it. I rated it, I think, 3 or 4 stars, mainly because it's just kind of the start of a series and not a lot really happens in the first volume. So I have been eagerly anticipating this for a while and I'm glad that I finally picked it up. Most of the charity shops in York are still closed due to lockdown and everything, but there was one that was open, which was Oxfam Books, and I did pick up 2 books secondhand, which I shouldn't have done, but one of them I need, so it's not too bad. And the one that I needed is Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. So this one is the 3rd book in the Live Ship Traders. The reason why I feel like I shouldn't have bought this is that I still don't have book 1 and 2. However, as you guys know, my book club, Catch Up Book Club, is doing a read along of the entire Realm of the Elderling series, or at least the first 6 books at the moment. So by the end of the year, I think December and January are the months for Ship of Destiny. I will need to have this book anyway, so I picked it up while I could, and it was £2.99, so it's definitely worth it because I am collecting these tiny mass market editions, although this one is kind of sun damaged, so I probably would have had to pay £5 or £6 for this off eBay anyway. I can't tell you the plot of this series because at this moment we have not started the Live Ship Traders trilogy yet. However, I believe that it features some ships and the ships are actually alive, and yeah, that is the extent of my knowledge on it. The other book I picked up, I only picked up because it has been recommended by Pierre Ford, and honestly, Pierre Ford is a goddess, and that is Malice by John Gwynne. So the only thing I actually know about this series is that it takes place in a land that has a history of war between giants and men, and giants have started to rise again. But Piera absolutely loves this series. I think there may be a spin-off series or something that goes with it, I don't remember, but this one is called The Faithful and the Fallen. Piera recommends it, and whenever I see book 1 in an adult fantasy series in a charity shop, I do tend to pick it up. So yeah, I grabbed this one as well. So those are the books that I have hauled today. I definitely could have done worse, and I would have if they'd have had volume 1 of that Buffy comic, or if I'd have remembered that I wanted to buy Blackbird. And I will put a book depository link to both Blackbird and the Buffy comic in my description box if you guys want to go check those out. The art style for Blackbird looks amazing, and just the concept of the Buffy comic, I'm really excited. There will be links to all the books I mentioned in this video in my description box as usual, but yeah, just in case you want to check out Blackbird or Buffy, because I don't have them here as a physical reference, there is a link in my description box. So now that I've finished Dreaming Sun, I'm going back to the other books that I've started already. The very next thing I'm going to do is read today's section of Vicious. Jade messaged me not long ago and asked if I read it yet. She thinks that I'm going to like it based on the predictions and things that I've had in the first 2 days of vlogging. So I'm now even more excited to get back into this, even though I was already pretty excited after reading yesterday's section. And then after I've read this, I will come and check in with you guys and then move on to A Strange Hymn. I never did get to the end of that chapter, so I'm currently on page 163. So I have, I think, nearly exactly 200 pages of this to read, so it seems unlikely I'm going to finish this today. But I think my plan for the rest of the day now, it's around 6 p.m. I don't have my phone with me, so I can't tell you the time, but I'm going to go and read the 50 to 60 pages I have to read of Vicious. Then I think I may get a jump on editing this vlog and edit everything I have so far, and then I will spend the rest of my evening reading A Strange Hymn, and we'll see how far I can get in this one before I close out this vlog. So I just finished my section of Vicious. We're on, like, I think it's 8 p.m. now, and I've got to the point in this book, like, I can't really tell you anything about it like I have the last 2 days because I'm past the 100 page mark. Today's section took me up to page 163, but I am still very much enjoying it, and all I'm gonna say about today's section is that things escalated quickly, and I had my theories about Eli that I shared with you guys yesterday, and I was wrong, I think, about the reason why Eli turns out to be a villain. I really don't like the reason that I now believe that he's become a villain, and I'm sad about it. Hey, so I haven't actually done any reading since I finished my section of Vicious, so I've read no more of A Strange Him yet, but I've just been editing and I've done a stupid thing, okay? So I've been on Twitter because people are bringing to my attention some of the discourse that's happening on Twitter at the minute, and I've done really well like the last 2 days because I've been focusing on the reading rush, so spending all of my free time reading and then spending my evenings editing. I haven't been on Twitter, but I have been on Twitter today, and it's annoyed me because Twitter does that when things are going on. And then there's just like, since then I've just been annoyed by a couple of other things, so my focus has not been where it should be, and if it had been, I would have finished editing all of the footage that I have so far a lot quicker. So essentially I've decided I'm just gonna cut my losses for the day, wrap up this vlog, go and get a shower, and then do some reading, hopefully before bed. I did wake up earlier today as well, so I'm tireder than I normally am at this point. Just checking in here real quick to say that my annoyance at the world has overridden my brain cells, and I forgot to give you my page count for the day. At this point, at 10:07 p.m, I have currently read 221 pages for the day, so even though I haven't read for a couple of hours, my daily progress is still continuing to go up, and we're gonna see how long that lasts because I don't think it's gonna last very long. But before we get into the wrapping up of the vlog, I do of course still have my Booktuber recommendation, and today I would like to recommend to you guys Deja from Deja's Book World. Now I have only just recently found Deja during the Bookopoly-thon because honestly there were so many people during the Bookopoly-thon that were a huge help to me as a host, even if that is not the reason why they were doing what they were doing. But Deja was one of those people, as she was running frequent live sprints on YouTube that people could go and watch and you could sprint along with her, which was great for me because it gave me a little bit of downtime, and there were still things going on in the community to do with the readathon that people could contribute to. So essentially that is how I found Deja, and then Deja did end up joining myself and Ashley for the closing live show for Bookopoly-thon, and during the Bookopoly-thon I did subscribe. I've watched a few of her videos now, and she's honestly just so precious. She's only 17. She's a reasonably new booktuber. I believe she mentioned in one of her live shows, or our live show, that she did have videos previously and then deleted them all and then has started again more recently. She does read quite a diverse range of books, so she does read fantasy. Most of the booktubers, I think all of the booktubers that I'm going to recommend to you this week, I would have to check, but the majority of them do read a lot of fantasy because I read a lot of fantasy, so I follow a lot of fantasy booktubers. But she does read a wider range than that. I believe she reads a few thrillers. I don't think she's a huge fan of standard contemporary. She's like me in that she prefers contemporary that deal with hard-hitting topics or with societal issues, and she does also read diversely in terms of prioritizing books by people of color and people from the LGBTQ community and things like that as well. I also find her videos incredibly engaging, and I also find her to be incredibly informative. So if you guys would like to subscribe to Deja and you do not already do so, her link will be in my description. But that is about it for today's vlog, guys. It swings and roundabouts because I can go out, I can do some stuff, I can bring you a little bit more interesting B-roll, but then I'm absolutely exhausted and I just want to curl up in bed. But I do hope you have enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys tomorrow when I have to get back to work. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.